So the subject of the summit, or the objective, is for people to get insights from leading experts and to see how we're evolving in the health and fitness industry. You're based on mindset. Mm-hmm. So how do you see the next 5 years in terms of people's goal setting, and how do you see everything evolving?
Look, I think the whole coach's mindset, or the whole philosophy around, kind of finding out who you are, what you value, what it is that you want out of life, as opposed to just taking steps to do things over and over again to make yourself feel better, and then when you're finished, you're like, what's next? I think, coaching over in the States has been massive for years, and it's starting to come over into Australia, and the reason being, more and more people are starting to look at where they are in life and say, I don't want to keep going down the river, going down, as Tony Robbins says, going down the stream, just figuring it out as I go. And more people are coming forward and saying, I'm so sick of this, I'm so sick of this shit, I want something more. And then they get stuck at the how. So it's with the health and fitness industry, I think people are starting to realise that there's so much more that goes into it. Like as you said this morning, talking about martial arts, talking about yoga, talking about mindset strategies, talking about meditation. Like, how much other stuff is there for you to be a successful human being? And now on that note, I say the best success you can be is a successful human being. What that looks like is something that you'd have to get into and uncover, or we could have a chat about it another time. So I think the health and fitness realm is really going to that next level, to moving away from, or staying in, but it used to be just, how often do I go to the gym? Or do I drink or not drink alcohol? Like, those are the kind of two areas, right? And it's really going to, a lot of people are wanting more, and they're really wanting more. And now, as you talked about goals, a lot of people do get stuck with the frustration of, now they're at the point of wanting more, and they see different resources and tools like gymnasiums and F45s, and maybe, you or me, they see all these things that are what we call the how to create what it is that they want. But they're not making reality, they're not turning their dreams into reality, and the reason being is because they're not setting clear goals.
Yeah, exactly right. So, how would we set a clear goal then?
Really good question, right? And that's where we all get stuck in the beginning, I think. But it's good to know that one of the reasons why you aren't where you want to be, or you're not living the life that you want to be living, is because maybe you haven't known up until now how to set clear goals. So once you can do that, and add a bit of sparkle, which is, I'm going to share with you, one of the key ingredients to setting goals, you'll actually start achieving them much quicker than you thought, or you originally wanted to. And it's from achieving your goals over and over again that you start to turn what's called your dream into reality.
So it's more about, because I have this concept in myself that it's not that I don't share with people, I'm just thinking it's more about, in some ways, mastering the art of achievement. And not to be just an achiever, but if you can set a little goal and then another goal and another goal with a bigger vision in mind, then you're mastering achievement, and then a success is a step, a few steps built up to a bigger vision.
Yeah,
that makes sense?
I absolutely love what you just said there. So let's go with the example of, I've got a client at the moment that's smoking. So we're setting her goal around living a smoking-free life, which is really just living a very fulfilled, healthy, energetic lifestyle. And sometimes when we're setting that goal, or let's say drinking, it's like, I want to remove drinking from my life, or I want to lose 10, 20, 30 kilos. And we look at, it's like what you said, we look at the end picture of the goal, and it's so large that we procrastinate.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is, to set effective goals, yes, you want your higher vision, and then your standards every day to fulfill that vision where you want to go. But goal setting is about setting those 1 day, 1 week, 1 month goals, in order to know when you reach those goals, they're clear indications and measurements to say, you've met this goal, that means next week's going to be met. And you've met that week, so that means the next time's going to be met. And you've met that month, which means in 6 months your goal is going to be met. It's all about measuring.
So when you were talking about before about, success is about being a successful human being, So that's individualized though. That's where
Yeah.
what do you think of that? Like, do you think that everyone's individual? Your goals are different to mine. So your version of success is going to be different to mine. Do you think that's where we're losing touch because we're trying to be molded success in everyone's view? What do you think?
Yes, well said, spot on. So I would say success is personal, so don't judge yourself to others.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, does that kind of clarify?
100%. Yeah.
So to me, to be a successful human being is to walk through this earth knowing what it is that I want and stopping at absolutely nothing to get it, whilst making sure I'm being resourceful, not harming anybody, including myself, around me or planet Earth.
Yeah, I agree. So when we're talking about vision, and there's a lot of people out there saying that it's not that you go too high and miss. You get too small and achieve it. So what's a vision that's big enough that that gets you excited? So what is a goal that's too small? Like, how do you define something like that?
Yeah, it sounds like you're kind of talking along the lines of aim for the moon, land on the stars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
This is where I get into, like, take this down. This is so important, which we've discussed before, which is if your why is big enough, the how gets taken care of. Yeah, if the why is big enough, the how gets taken care of. So many of us so many people watching this video are thinking, oh, but I keep setting goals and they're not getting met. Or I kind of set them and then I don't do them. Or I get so close and then they're not reached. Or even the fact that I did everything my goal I was meant to do and I still don't have the outcome.
Yeah.
So the reason is we always get stuck, or so often we get stuck in the how. It's no different than changing careers, moving out of a relationship that's unhealthy, overcoming addiction such as drinking, gambling, cocaine, stuff like that, losing a certain amount of weight. And we get so stuck in the how that it drives us insane because we're always focusing on how we're going to do something. How do I get up to go to the gym in the morning? How do I not eat as much food? How do I tell my partner that I don't love her anymore? How? And we get so frustrated and stuck. The key is you forgot to ask yourself, or you're forgetting to ask yourself, why? Why do you want it?
Yeah.
And it's so much more in depth than that. So it's like, why do you want it? For what purpose? And keep asking yourself, for what purpose, for what purpose, for what purpose? And every time you write something new down, that's where you're creating your vision. That's where you're creating what it is that gets you excited. So for example, with health goals, I want to weigh 75 as opposed to 85, for instance, and be leaner and more cut. For what purpose? I don't know. I think it's the right thing to do. For what purpose? Well, because I feel better about it. For what purpose would you feel better about it? Well, it'll impact my relationship in a healthy way. And what do you mean by that? Well, you know what? Me and my partner will get along more often. Would go out more often. I'd have more energy, every day. You know what? Maybe I'll hit my sales targets at work because I've got more energy. Great. What does that mean? I've got more money in the bank. What does that mean to you? Maybe I can take my partner on a holiday that I wanted to take. What does that mean to you? And you just keep going, keep going, keep going. And this is where you're building your why. And when your why is big enough, your goal, it takes care of itself. Yes, you need to touch base, and I would say, which we'll talk about, the SMART goal system.
Yeah.
You still need to focus on all of that, but at the very beginning, you need to amp up your why. And as I said to you this morning, talking from a personal point of view, F45 opened up, right?
Yeah.
So I'm setting myself a goal to get into F45, which I haven't done before. The reason being to set some clear goals around the energy I want to have, the way I want to look, and the way I want to feel at the end of the day at my wedding next year. And as I said, the old me said, just jump into it and start doing it every morning. And I said, hang on, I know so much more about it. So I stepped back. In the last 3 days, it's literally been 3 days, I'm building up my why. Because I know if I just get into it, I'll go around it for a bit, and that excitement of like, I'm doing it, it's going to last a certain period of time. But I know from history tells me if I try to achieve goals the way I used to, they're not going to be achieved. So now I'm building up my why, and it'll probably be another couple of days until I have a big enough why, literally writing it down on why I want to train for the next 6 months, 3 times a week. So the why is enough to get the how done, which is get up in the morning and go to training.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that, because one of the reasons why we're doing the summit is the objective is to really decrease depression, help depression, anxiety, and reduce this statistic of weight loss still at 60%. There's more information out there and we're getting fatter and unhealthier. How does that work? So, like, how can we really tell people, like, in terms of a goal, do they have to be happy doing it? Like, I'm not happy about, I ran a marathon, for example. I wasn't happy running a marathon. There's this concept of we have to be so happy all the time to achieve that goal in our why. Do you think it's important to feel every emotion and not just be happy to fulfill that goal? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Or is it? Do you think that the why is just, a why is important, and you've got a big enough reason why because you're excited? Or do you think that all emotions just come into it, like excited, bit sad, bit nervous,
Yeah.
and then you're on the reason, your right reason?
Yeah, spot on. So any goal that you set, I would say, is outside your comfort zone. If it wasn't outside the comfort zone, there's no point setting the goal because you already know you can achieve it.
Yeah.
Right? That's why we set goals, to push us further. So the number one thing to take away is whatever goal you're setting, no matter how big or small, right now make the decision that it's okay to feel fear, happiness, excitement. Uncomfortable is the big one, because your goal's taking you outside your outside of your comfort zone. So if you've never been to the gym before and you want to start going to the gym, we need to make a decision. We must, that it's okay for the first few sessions to feel uncomfortable. It's okay to maybe feel like we don't belong, or maybe that we're not good enough to be there. Like, it's okay in the beginning to feel that way, because once your comfort zone expands, then it's what do you get from it at the end of the day? So like your marathon at the time, you're like, oh, I didn't enjoy running the marathon, but what about your achievement?
Exactly right, and that's the sense. Like, I felt every emotion when I ran that marathon, and it was mainly my own barrier that I want to overcome, because I'll never run more than 5Ks at once out of rugby league games. So I just wanted to see how I can do it. But when I got to 36Ks, I was like almost in tears, I was just felt every emotion, but just to push that barrier. And that's what I mean, like, it's okay, because people are depressed and anxious and stuff like that. Is it okay to be like that though? That's what I was saying,
Is it okay to be like, it's good, it's healthy.
Yeah.
Any of the emotions that you're experiencing at the moment are natural emotions putting you to serve you in some way. If you've gotten to a place of anxiety or depression, the behaviours that have crept up for a certain period of time, for whatever circumstances, that doesn't matter right now. Whatever happened or is going on in your life, I can appreciate how important it is to you, but those emotions, they're in you for a reason. So it's like when I talk about fear, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the time when we're setting our goal, we have this sense of fear, and it's like we want to literally, a lot of my clients say, I just wish fear would F off. I say, well, it's funny you say that. And they say, what do you mean by that? I go, how did you get here today? And they go, I drove. I go, great, how did you not crash on the way here? They said, what do you mean by that? I said, fear kept you on the road, it kept you from steering off, it kept you from hitting someone, it kept you from crashing, it keeps us alive every day, right? So fear, it serves us all the bloody time, but when it puts us in a position that we're uncomfortable in, all of a sudden we want it to F off. Is this making sense?
100%.
So it's like, feeling sad is an emotion we experience in order to maybe say, let's grieve. Yeah?
Yeah.
We enjoy grieving, or to some level we want to, and we need to, if we were to lose someone. So we go through this process which serves us and it cleans us out. And then all of a sudden it creeps up so much and we start to hate it and we're like sad all the time. So I think it's important to come back to realizing that, hang on a second, this was serving me at some time. This was serving me in some way, shape or form. It served me. And now it's no longer serving me, but that's okay. So how do you move forward from that?
Exactly right. And that I think that's a great insight for me, is consistently asking yourself questions that will help you propel you forward, and understanding that what happened in the past was to propel me forward. So it's that continuing circle. And that brings me into my next question of, do you think that's by asking yourself questions like that and understanding from negative and positive and feeling all fears, do you think that's the definition of self-awareness?
Yes, having an understanding of those and what's going on is self-awareness is huge. One of the first things I ever learned was there's two things you're going to learn in the personal development world. And I'm saying this to everybody listening right now. You're in the personal development world. You're watching this right now. You're in. You're working with human behavior. You're working on success. You're working on excellence or modeling excellence. Whatever it is that you want. You're working on growth. So it's
So it's important to that's how we get self-awareness, is by, that's what I got from your conversation. That I got that insight where, you ask yourself the question, where is it, how can it serve me in the future, or what can serve me in the future, and then you look back on your fear and anxiety and understand that that helped me get to my future goals. So that's an example of self-awareness, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, what do
huge.
you think of that?
Yeah, so to clarify it really simply, you either ask yourself two questions. They're resourceful questions or they're unresourceful.
What would be an example of a resourceful question?
Great, so let's go with anxiety. You ask yourself, why am I anxious? Unresourceful question.
Yeah.
You're building up leverage and story to make sure that your reality is true. So you just focus on why you're anxious, and then you might think about the time or the event that happened to cause the anxious feeling, and now you haven't let go of it. And you just keep asking yourself unresourceful questions. Or why am I effed up? Or why am I larger than my friends? All of this stuff.
Yeah.
Ask yourself really resourceful questions like, what do I actually want? How could I become the person I wanted to be? How could I get into that sports team? What do I need to do in order to live anxiety free? Very resourceful questions, because you're going to come up with resourceful answers. So I had a really good saying one time, which is, the quality of your life depends on the quality of the questions you ask yourself.
Yeah, mate, that's massive.
If that sums up the self, and that comes from awareness, self-awareness.
Yeah, exactly right. So we touch on, and I agree with, definitely, and we touch on the reason why, and this keeps popping up in our conversation that we're having now, and it brings me back to myself, a bit selfishly to talk about myself in this situation, but at the same time just to give people maybe a better understanding that I keep chasing these achievements, right? That, like, you know, I played international rugby league, I've done a marathon, I've done an amateur boxing fight. So these things that from an outside world, like, that might look like a great concept, but then I ask myself, why, and where am I going next? You know what I mean? So, and we talk about the reason why with a bigger vision. So could you help me figure out that?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we can tell with everything you've done, so much of it is around serving other people. So much of it is around health and fitness. Now, we could go into it and figure out, are you experiencing, it sounds like you might be quite possibly experiencing your top 3 to 5 values through what it is that you've been doing. Yeah. Which is, correct me if I'm wrong, walking the walk in order to inspire other people that they can too change.
100%.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent.
Spot on. So you ask yourself this: for what purpose are you doing that? For what purpose do you set yourself all of these goals and push yourself so hard to break the limits of your own self? Why do you have such a great passion for living outside your comfort zone or having the growth mindset, as you've shared with me before?
For me, like, I have that voice inside my head saying I can't do it all the time, and I have that in the back of my mind, and I think that's like the survival mechanism, and a lot of people have it, and a lot of my clients have had it, just saying I can't do it. But the problem is that, you know, people listen to that voice and they don't act, and they act on, you know, you can't do this, so they act on that side of the brain. I just want to do the opposite. So that doesn't, I think that I do it because I want to prove myself wrong in a way, and to show people that, you know, they don't have to listen to that negative side that says they're not good enough or anything like that. So I feel the same way, and I try and do the opposite of what I think. So I want to show more people that, to listen to that positive side. Yeah,
it's unreal.
But how do you start? Like, what is that? Like, is that a vision? Am I trying to help people? Then is that my vision? Do you think?
I think can I just clarify, to break it down, because it sounds like you're taking value from this.
Yeah.
With that whole scenario, the conversation that we have with ourselves, which we have so often, especially when setting goals, or not achieving our goal, it's a conversation in our head. Now, I think your success determines on whether you listen to your head or your heart more often. So what happens so often is our head, which is our ego, comes up with all the fear questions. What if I don't make it? What if I eat too much? What if I go out on the weekend and have a massive one? What if I feel anxious tomorrow? What if someone asks me what I do for a career and I'm too fearful about answering them because I don't have the career that I want? All these what if questions, all these questions about what if I can't do it? What if I can't make it? And you'll either, this is where we talk about our awareness, yeah?
Yeah.
As we go back into what we're talking about, resourceful, unresourceful questions. They're just questions in your head. I can appreciate they're there. That's why you're at the place that you are in life at the moment. So your heart, trusting yourself, coming from a place of pure love, which is courage, all of that stuff, is going to propel you forward.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you hear the fear, but you're stepping into it anyway. And the only way you're stepping into fear is from self-love. Because if you didn't have the self-love, you wouldn't back yourself against the fear. You just let fear keep you where you are.
Definitely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. So that's an insightful thing for me already, by just asking myself resourceful questions and doing things for love and courage, and then just to be a model for that, and then show others that they can also be doing things through love and courage as well.
Yeah.
So would that be a big enough, vision of the future? I mean, how could I?
So yeah, as we were talking about, you've kind of got two things. What's your mission, and then your vision. So I'd like to come up with your vision, and then you have a mission that fulfills that.
Yeah.
So what would you be doing? Let's just throw it out there. What would you be doing in 20 years? You wake up in 20 years, you call me and tell me what you're doing.
This is where visualization comes into it. I see myself, stepping out the door, about to, give my wife a kiss, see my kids, give them a kiss, and have a great breakfast with them, and walking out the door to training, just coaching and training large groups of people. I see myself more of a athlete, so more training athletes and stuff like that. So that's what I see. I don't really have a clear vision of what that coaching is or anything like that.
So right now, this is where the clarity or the vagueness. Let's go with the vagueness. Puts you in a position to finish an achievement like a marathon or whatever it is. Let's just go with marathon. Whatever it is that you'll be doing, and from coming to that place of like, okay, what's next? Yeah, a lot of us get to that point. Lose 20 kilos. What's next? Stop smoking. What's next? For me, or for someone else, it's like make $1 million. What's next? Whatever it might be, whatever area in your life, and then it's like, what do I do next? And we find ourselves on this repetitious cycle of doing things in order to feel great. But then every time you solve a problem for yourself, what's possible for you just grows.
Yeah, exactly right.
So
it's
every time
the growth mindset, isn't
the
it?
growth mindset. So if you are if you like achieving things, you got to ask yourself for what purpose. So now we're starting to get to the nooks and crannies of actually why it is you're doing everything it is that you've been doing at the moment. And we know one day you want to wake up in the morning, give your wife a kiss, and say hello to your kids. We know that you want to have a family. That's clear to you. Yeah, you've got
family is
you have clarity on that.
Yeah.
So we're already breaking down whether we could do this, really break it down, but we're already breaking it down on, we bring clarity to, okay, where you were vague about how does my business actually run? What does the business look like? When I'm training large groups in the athlete area, what does that look like? And when we have a really clear vision like that, that's your vision. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
So then you can say, all of these marathons, all of these growth mindsets, all this stuff that you do is part of your mission, to fulfill and to motivate and to inspire other people, which is all along the lines of your mission, at the end of the day, so you have a business that fulfills your vision.
Yeah, exactly right.